drug and homeless epidemic, and Democrats are getting scared of MAGA 24. This is The Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Wass. If there's one state that seems to lead the fight against unconstitutional gun laws, it's Virginia. Now, recently, in Henrico County, the Board of Supervisors was scheduled to consider banning firearms, ammunition, and other firearm-related components from any buildings owned or used by Henrico County. Now, the new ordinance would also extend to buildings owned or used by the entities created or controlled by the county, including community and recreation centers. The new policy was created with the intention of excluding all citizens, including those with concealed carry permits. If approved, the ordinance would exempt private security personnel if they are specifically hired by the county. It would also exclude military personnel only when acting in the capacity of their military duties. Now, fortunately, but not surprisingly, the Virginia Citizens Defense League recognized this as a clear violation of the Second Amendment and a dangerous policy that would make people unarmed and helpless in several locations of Henrico County. Known for their unwavering persistence in protecting the rights of Virginians, VCDL stepped up and rallied the troops. The VCDL put out the call requesting a strong turnout to stop the ordinance from passing and going into effect. They also expressed the need to flood the Board of Supervisors' emails and telephones with comments opposing the new gun ban. Did they get the response they wanted? Boy, did they ever. The response far exceeded expectations, and the county backed down. The ordinance was immediately pulled from the agenda, reminding everyone how powerful grassroots movements can be. Now, the VCDL president, Philip Van Cleve, said, quote, "The board announced that due to the large volume of calls and emails, the county manager needed time to study all those comments. Could this come up again in the future? Possibly. We just don't know, but we will be watching," end quote. So it would seem real Americans have had just about enough of the gun-grabbing propaganda machine constantly grinding its way through our traditional American values. The Bill of Rights, specifically the Second Amendment, was written because our founding fathers saw the tyrants coming over 200 years away. And the good folks in Virginia are not afraid to confront them. When necessary, they stand up and set an example. Now, we're going to talk about this and many other things with, also known as the online instigator, John Chiara. And he's pretty much an okay guy, Anthony Diso. Not liking it. He gives me different stuff all the time, and you get the same thing over and over again. What's up with that? I don't know. Gotta get you above that line. Hey, you gotta talk to the producer. His name is Danny Wass Jr. He's my offspring, so that might tell you something. That's grease. I heard him in my ear. He said, "That's gross."
Stop visualizing, Anthony. Stop.
Hey, so basically, this county tried to ban. See, to us in New York, it's common that there's so many restrictions we can't go into certain places. But down in Virginia, when something like this happens, they're like, "Whoa, wait a minute, this is not cool." So they tried banning, and then tried banning carry in certain places, like I said.
Places where they want shooters to come in, right?
Exactly. Parks and recreation centers and stuff like that. But the town came out, and Virginia Citizens Defense League came out in full force with their people, and they said, not going to happen. And they flooded. Just like you and I went to the rally in 2020, John.
Yep, it was cold.
It was huge, wasn't it? I mean, had you ever seen anything like that?
No. No, I had not. And that's why I went to try to see it firsthand, and it was not like anything I'd ever seen. It was crazy.
They called it Lobby Day, but it was a national thing. People from all over the country and militia groups came out. It was just amazing, basically to show the governor at the time that, no, we're not gonna tolerate your tyranny and your nonsense. And so anyway, but I just want to see what you guys thought about that grassroots kind of people coming out.
Well, can I go on a tangent?
Yeah.
Relating to all these kind of issues, I had a discussion this weekend with somebody online, and I know how we often stress the importance of the personal liberty aspect of all the amendments and Bill of Rights and the Constitution in general, right? That's what it was supposed to be about. Whether it comes down to telling you what kind of car you're going to drive, or what kind of gun you can own, or what kind of injections you have to have. But I think that the programming has got the desired effect where people are not critically thinking about anything. Okay, discussion I had with a person was about, it was a Second Amendment discussion. It was about, the right to own and carry a gun. It was about something specific, but again, I made it general. And his perspective went right to, well, statistically, households with a gun in them are much more likely to have an accidental shooting. So I realized that that's what they've gotten everybody to look at. They've gotten everybody to look at the things that, okay, well, airplanes don't crash very often, so they're safe, unless you're on the one that crashes, and then you're dead, which was the analogy I was making to him. It's like the personal liberty aspect of this is that I should be able to choose the way I get to protect myself. And and then he came back with, well, have you ever seen a negotiator talk down a mass shooter? And I said, if somebody's aiming a gun at you unexpectedly, are there police there and negotiators there? There's nobody there. There's you and that person, right? So limiting that choice is what I would say is where we should draw the line. We shouldn't be able to tell individual people how they can choose to defend themselves, especially if they're law-abiding citizens, right? And they don't shoot anybody anyway.
You know what's interesting about these people? Like you said, so his argument was households that have guns have more likely to have accidental shooting or whatever.
Right.
Well, first of all, the number is absolutely minuscule. But yeah, of course, if there's a gun there, there's going to be
a car, you might get run over. Right?
Exactly. But here's the piece that counteracts that it's so overwhelming that they won't even talk about it. The fact is that people have used their guns about 2 million or more times per year just to stop a violent thing. Right. So what happens in those situations if those people don't have? Oh. That's 2.5 million, all the way up to 4 million defensive gun uses in America that will no longer be defensive gun uses.
Don't confuse us with big numbers, Dan.
How do they argue that?
Well, they argue it by not considering those numbers. That's the same way they argue at the climate crap, and that's the same way they argue all these other issues, is they look at certain number, they start with a conclusion. Oh, I think this. Therefore, let's do my own research and find all the stuff that agrees with me. Okay, that's not an argument. That's just consensus, So you can't take that belief and bring it into the real world and try to have an interaction with people that are on the other side of the issue, or for people that are in the middle of the issue that are just trying to find out what's going on.
Well, and what's interesting? It brings me back to this. I remember Ted Nugent saying. By the way, I was just on Ted Nugent's show, but not too long ago. So
were you infringing on his space?
I was. We had a blast. If people get the chance, check out the Ted Nugent Dan Wass interview. Total blast. We had a good time.
But in 1990, Joe Biden introduced the Crime Control Act. Well, in that Crime Control Act was the Gun-Free School Zones Act, and that Gun-Free School Zones Act is responsible for death. It's responsible, and the death that happens in schools now increases at twice the rate of increase every 10 years, ever since Joe Biden introduced that stupid bill. But the gun grabbers don't want to do anything about that. They don't want to put security in. They don't want to arm teachers. They would much rather, it would seem, to let those gun-related deaths keep piling up so they can use them to push for more gun restrictions.
Yeah, it literally signifies irrefutably the evil intent of government, the law enforcement community. And again, nobody supports law enforcement heroes more than I do. But when some jackbooted thug is going to arrest you for protecting your life or having a suppressor in an illegal state, you have to have a muffler on your lawnmower, but I got to get federal paperwork for a muffler for my gun. This is insanity. So number one, a big salute to you, Dan, because it's really important that anybody who believes in the sanctity of life, that good should always survive an evil assault. And there's never been more engineered evil assaulting going on because of our court system, because of our government. And if you're unarmed, I keep saying it, if you're unarmed and helpless, you're unarmed and helpless.
Anyway, but Ted Nugent said a long time ago in an interview to Piers Morgan, Piers said, if we don't have any guns, then nobody will get shot. And Ted Nugent said, "You're right. And if we don't have any water, nobody will drown. So he said, so you try to eliminate guns, go ahead, and I'll try to eliminate water, and we'll see what happens. The reality is you're never going to eliminate guns from society. And if you create more gun registration or gun regulations, you're only going to be giving an upper hand to the bad guys. So if we're going to have guns, I'm going to have one on me. And basically that was the point. It was similar to what you said.
Well, it is.
If
But
there's
if you don't look at the other statistics and you're only looking at the ones that agree with you, you're missing. It's like, okay, to use the climate thing as an example. Okay, people are afraid people are going to die because the temperature is going to get too hot. Okay, how many people die now from the temperatures being too cold? Way more, even in India and all these tropical countries.
Right.
People die from cold. They out in the desert at night or whatever. Especially older people. So
well, even Texas had a ice storm or snowstorm last year or something,
Right.
and everything went freaking fell apart.
depending on some kind of renewable thing as a backup, which didn't work. So, and the worst part about the climate aspect of it is that they're all worried about that happening. First of all, they're ignoring the cold death numbers and all the other numbers that might be on the other side of that argument to start out with. Second of all, they're ignoring the fact that if they endorse policies that increase energy prices, they're hurting the poorest people the most. Now, today, grandma down the road, not somebody 80 years from now, living in, Uganda or something.
In a hut.
It's a perspective thing that is really, it's hard to overcome because they've just notched out that whole part of the argument on every issue. Anyway, that's all I got.
What do you think? What's the answer?
Well, you're a ranting, babbling woman today.
Just drank some coffee from a local establishment. That was pretty darn good.
I was on your favorite platform, Facebook, where you're the biggest instigator in America.
He is.
Hey, I promote your
He loves
band
it.
on Facebook, so
He loves instigating them.
If you're friends with John Chiara on
let's talk
Facebook,
about Anthony's band. We had the video of Anthony playing the
I
other
don't
night.
think we have any clips.
Pretty funny.
Always got something.
All right. So, what do you think about the? What did you want to say? Go ahead.
So there was another shooting in Albany, of course. It's just typical.
Let me guess.
2 already, right? This year so far?
3.
At least 3.
What street? It was either down
They didn't say,
second and
down
third, or
somewhere in the ghetto.
up on.
Lake Avenue.
So I was on the police had a thing on they have their own Facebook page and people are commenting, don't we have strict gun laws here? I go, no, stupid. They're for law-abiding citizens, not the criminals.
Right.
Well, what do you mean? I go, like I just said.
So they
The
really
laws
didn't.
don't protect. The criminals can do whatever they want. I say your esteemed governor is restricting people who follow the law. I say get it right. Listen to what I'm saying to you. They're like, and
So they really didn't understand. They really didn't understand that the gun laws only affect good people who
That's
are
why I
willing
said
to
it
abide.
only affects people who
Well,
follow
if
the
they've
law.
been convinced that the guns are the problem,
But it's
then that's
not.
all they
That's
have to
what I
worry
said, too.
about,
I
right?
said-
Again, it eliminates all
Yeah.
other.
Well, I
let's
saw
look at
something the
those.
other day. It was like guns kill people. No,
No, dummy. Guns
does
save
a
lives.
car kill a person when it's drunk?
Right.
Those drunk cars.
Those damn drunk cars.
Yeah, we got to get rid of them.
No, I think everybody should consider carrying.
Well, there's 390 million guns in America.
I think there's probably more
Legal.
than that.
That never shoot anybody, right?
Yeah, they're just hanging around.
But yet Hochul and Newsom and all the other lefties are trying to ban the most popular semi-automatic rifles that we have, and they're not any more deadly than
Weapons of war.
Yeah, weapons of war, and
How many gang shootings are people running around with ARs?
0.
exactly.
Stupid.
They're using stolen Glocks and Smiths
put in their
and
pocket.
whatever they can get their hands
They're
on.
not carrying a rifle around the streets.
Shotgun gangs.
But since there are some blue states just really trying to infringe on the Second Amendment with their semi-automatic bans and stuff, I just wanted to bring up one of our sponsors here. This is called the Cali Key. This is the name of the company. It's Cali Key, and they've got this really cool device. See if I can show it to you. How can I get this in the camera shot? It's a little key. It's attached to a BCG right now. But what it does is it removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. And when they when they create these so-called assault weapon ban lists, they exclude manually operated like bolt action rifles. This turns your AR into a bolt action rifle by just dropping the Cali key in to your direct impingement AR in place of your semi-automatic BCG. You'll have a bolt action rifle that falls outside the definition of so-called assault weapon. That's all you have to do. So give the Cali key a look, because you could retain all your rifle's features. You could avoid registration complications. You could revive your black rifle sales if you're a gun shop, an FFL. You can regain the ability to do private party transfers. You can legally transport across hostile jurisdictions. You can hunt with your AR in areas like Pennsylvania, and it also enhances long-range precision and quieter suppressed shooting. The Cali Key has state-specific expert attorneys' opinions on its website and supports grassroots Second Amendment organizations with its sales. The Cali Key's mission is to empower customers and claw back our civil liberties. So go to CaliKey.com, CaliKey.com. Use the discount code LOADED. I guess you'll get a discount just for knowing us. So CaliKey.com, discount code LOADED. Okay, I wanted to get those guys in because they're really an awesome design. It's really pretty incredible what these guys came up with. Anyway, I don't know. I think it's time for a woke patrol.
Woke Patrol.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
All right, so in this woke patrol, we'll see a left-wing instigator dressing up as a Trump supporter in preparation to going to the Capitol on January 6th to start trouble. Now, if you remember, we did an interview with Chris Bogard, and that's what got us kicked off YouTube. Chris Bogard was a director for the movie Capital Punishment, and he laid everything out about January 6th in his movie. Here's just another example of the lefties pretending to be Trump supporters that day. And this is so just go ahead and watch this. We can comment on it.
His disguise on.
Okay, so we're gonna wear this. I'm gonna wear a mask underneath the mask. You should wear this. I'm wondering if I should wear, what do you think I should wear as a hat? Should I wear this or this? Yeah, here, this is your mask.
Oh my God, the America mask.
Dude, I'm not fucking with you. You gotta blend in. I know you can't stomach wearing it, but like you need to blend in. You have to have a visual identifier. You're not coming if you're not wearing this.
All right.
You could also wear this.
Yeah, the America hat might be my move. Both these. I'll bring them both in my backpack.
We've got Fox News. Oh wait,
CNN. We're ready to.
We're ready.
I don't know if we're committing crimes doing this, but
Are you insinuating that I don't work for all three of these companies simultaneously?
I am at least a little bit insinuating that.
You feel like you think that I don't work for all of them. They won't trust you unless there's a visual, like there's something visual.
So what do you think of that dirtbag?
But why is he not in jail?
Yeah, exactly.
Where do we get that stuff?
Yeah, he'll never.
Masks and stuff. I want to get some of them.
They'll never go to jail. Just like what was that one guy's name, that kind of big guy that was instigating everything, and he never got in trouble for it.
Chris Christie?
What was his name?
Oh, I
can't think of his name. Anyway, he was one of those big instigators. He's out there telling everybody, tear down the barricades, go in. He's wearing a Trump hat. Can't remember his name offhand, but
how bad is that, though?
Yeah.
How low is that? That's how you're putting yourself out as a human being, where you're going to go imitate somebody that you don't like over whatever and cause trouble and probably cause people to get hurt, right?
Of course. Well, that's what they want. Just like the lefties, like Antifa and stuff, were spraying swastikas and stuff on buildings and blaming it on conservatives. That's what they do. They're doing the same thing at the presidential level with the elections. They're trying to get Trump off the ballot because they know they're not winning. They know that their ideas are bad, and they know that the majority of people don't want anything to do with it. They do, however, have the media on their side, and they have all the Democrats in office on their side. So they use those tools to try to build hype for
Any means necessary, right? That's how they've gotten to the point of. So, how do you fight that?
Well,
I think you fight it with any means necessary in the reverse direction. That's what I think.
Well, as far as the election goes, the election fraud that occurred in 20, representative for New York's 21st district, Elise Stefanik, this is right where we live. She's in our district. I happen to know her. I've done some speaking events with her. But she owns the press in this next clip. She explains the previous election fraud by the Democrats, and Meet the Press tries to get her to say that she will not support a Biden re-election, but she's clear when she says she will only support a fair election. So what they're trying to do is get her to, they're trying to trick you. Oh, are you saying you won't support? And she's like, not if it's not fair.
That tactic is rampant, right?
Yeah. So watch this clip. This is pretty good.
Would you vote to certify, and will you vote to certify the results of the 2024 election, no matter what they show?
Well, I voted not to certify the state of Pennsylvania because, as we saw in Pennsylvania and other states across the country, that there was unconstitutional acts circumventing the state legislature and unilaterally changing election law.
What about 2024? What about 2024?
We will see if this is a legal and valid election. What we're seeing so far is that Democrats are so desperate, they're trying to remove President Trump from the ballot. That is a suppression of the American people, and the Supreme Court is taking that case up in February. That should be a 9-0 to allow President Trump to appear on the ballot, because that's the American people's decision to make this November.
And the matter is, of course, halted pending that appeal, as you say. But just to be very clear, I don't hear you committed to certifying the election results. Will you only commit to certify the results if former President Trump wins? Does that mean if former President Trump wins?
No, it means if they are constitutional. What we saw in 2020 was unconstitutional circumventing of the Constitution, not going through state legislatures when it comes to changing election law. And we're seeing this in my home state of New York, Kristen. We are seeing Democrats try to steal the election and illegally gerrymander congressional districts that we fairly won and are fair line. So I see this at a very local level, as well as the unconstitutional overreach we saw at the national level in 2020.
Would you vote to?
There you go. So she's pretty awesome. I mean, she hasn't wavered yet, and I hope she doesn't. I mean, we watch her because she's our representative.
Yeah, I agree. I think but I don't. Again, on all she's saying is that. Again, another part of the information that's almost never brought up is that Pennsylvania specifically went against their own constitution to change their election laws. They didn't go through the process they're supposed to go through. Yeah. Why have a constitution if you're not going to abide by what it says? Oh, there's an emergency. We're afraid something's going to happen. Therefore, you can vote 2 months earlier. But we can't count your votes till election night. So we're going to put up cardboard on the wall.
Right.
Bring out all this. It's just, it looks bad from however you look at it, So why would you do it that way? Just
we're going to keep them in the garage next to the Corvette.
Dan's
Joe stores his
got
stuff.
a Corvette. That's what's in those boxes. Huh?
Him and Joe have things in common.
I know.
Yeah, we both like Corvettes. That's about it. But anyway, so yeah, it's just hats off to Elise Stefanik. I mean, she's doing a great job, and we're all very proud of her. And I think she's going to really move up.
She could be the VP.
She could. Who knows? I mean, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to have somebody right from your own district doing so well.
Now, how is she in relation to Second Amendment stuff?
She's good. I mean, I talked to one of her people about Second Amendment, and I always make the offer to all these local politicians that if you need help with any Second Amendment related stuff, call me.
Right.
I'd be happy to advise. I'd be happy to help you out with your campaigns as with respect to Second Amendment stuff. And so we had a couple good conversations, and like I said, I did some speaking events with Elise, and she's very nice. She's come to some of our local town events and stuff.
And as they always say, no one is perfect, but there's a lot of people that are better than other people, right? As far as the things that we're concerned about, most people are concerned.
Well, I mean, as far as Second Amendment, just to try to answer your question, she, as far as I can tell, she is 100% in support of the Second Amendment. I don't think she would waver. I hope not. I mean, the big Second Amendment issues with her haven't really come up yet. So I would like to see how she responds. But I don't think she's a compromiser. I don't think she's a compromiser. we'll see. But she's been great so far. Moving on, though, I've been convinced that Democrats really don't want to help people. They actually want to make problems worse and make people dependent on government. So here's a perfect example. On December 8th, 21, the White House released a model law to help states ensure access to safe, effective, and cost-saving syringe service programs. You guys aware of this? No. This was back in 21. They said, this is this publication by the White House, today, the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy announces the release of a model law for states to help expand access to syringe service programs. They call it SSPs, right? The release of this model law comes at a critical time when overdose deaths have reached a record high and gives states a tool to help prevent overdoses. At a time when overdose deaths have reached an unprecedented number, we must meet people where they are and do everything we can to save lives, says Dr. Rahul Gupta, Director of National Drug Control Policy. The model law provides states with a framework to make sure syringe service programs are available wherever they're needed. Studies show that SSPs protect first responders and the public by providing safe needle disposal and reducing community presence of needles. The model law, I'm almost done here. The model law provides a template of suggested legislative provisions that can be enacted in states across the country so that they can expand access to syringe service programs. They would authorize the establishment of comprehensive syringe service programs within states, provide data collection and reporting requirements for syringe service programs, provide immunity from criminal arrest, charge and prosecution for the possession, distribution, or furnishing of hypodermic needles and syringes and other supplies. In other words, you won't get in trouble for any of this stuff. Provide a mechanism for funding of syringe programs. All right? So if you guys want to comment, you can comment, but I got a clip. Would you like to comment on what you heard so far?
It sounds awesome so far.
I like it.
Okay. Well, here's a video clip of how well that's working out in Philadelphia now, 2 years later.
There it is.
How's your syringe program, Joe?
Like a bunch of zombies.
Is that unbelievable?
Look at him. He's a puppet. The hell? She got her head in the basket.
This is what our government does to people.
Look at him.
For people who are listening, maybe on the radio and stuff, we're just showing sights from Philadelphia. People just all sorts of strung out.
And the news will never show you this.
Strung out on the sidewalks, laying there, passed out, drug addicts.
Look at this guy. He's caught between the bench and the...
So this is, it wasn't Joe's syringe program supposed to stop this? What happened?
No, I think it's actually catering to it. Look at him.
You guys all curled up in a freaking knot on the sidewalk.
You lost your shoes, pal. He just burned up.
Starting fires on the sidewalk. It's pretty pathetic,
That's Philly for you.
Can we show a photo, Danny, of the Philadelphia mayor?
Ooh, look at that.
There she is.
That's a dude in drag.
So can you guess what political party she's with?
Oh, you thinking? Yeah. That's definitely a Democrat, and that's a dude.
And now don't forget, and John mentioned this earlier, don't forget how the Philadelphia Board of Elections allowed cardboard to be put up in the windows at the polls, the counting location, so Republicans couldn't monitor the Democrats and prevent them from cheating. This is the mayor. She's just been reelected to her second term.
See, I don't feel sorry for any of those people laying on the ground or the people who voted for morons like her.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I do take this and I think about it and I look at it and it's like, yeah, like what the hell's wrong with you stupid people? But then you imagine what if it was one of your family members and they got caught up in that sort of thing? You might think about it a little differently. But regardless, it's the policies that Democrats are putting forward that are encouraging this sort of thing.
So they're basically giving you the syringes so you can shoot up. I don't understand their method.
It's like giving gang members
if you want to
guns,
stop
right?
overdoses,
it's like giving gang members guns
away.
See, that's why John's so philosophical. He's just so smart.
I'm just hungry.
It's like giving gang members guns.
Yeah.
So they don't shoot. So they don't shoot each other as much.
Yeah. Yeah, you should do that.
This makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Of all the things to be worried about in 2024, these are the kind of stupid things that people are putting out there as policy.
But the news will never show you that Skid Row set up in Philly. They'll show you the clean streets that Mayor Shim there is.
People
What's her
notice, though, right? I mean, people
they
go to
don't.
places like San Francisco and they notice how the city's different than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Just so
Only
everybody-
the people who live there.
Mayor Sherelle Parker. That's her name.
Sherelle.
And she was just reelected for a second term.
Sounds like Terrell.
Stop.
So if that's what the people of Philadelphia are voting for, that must be what they want. Unless, of course, they're cheating in their elections, which Democrats would never do that.
You think Newsom got elected legally? I don't think.
Didn't
so.
he get removed
Right,
and then
and then he somehow won? Yeah, okay. Stop.
exactly
That dude cheated so bad to win his election.
Yeah.
He is charismatic.
There's no way. I mean, I know there's dumb people in California, but they're not that dumb.
Well, Danny's wrapping us up right back after this. Got a lot of great stuff coming up. Stick around.
The Cali Key removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. It lets you keep your rifle with all its features, avoid registration hassles, and transport in hostile jurisdictions. The Cali Key also lets you hunt in jurisdictions like Pennsylvania and enhances long-range precision shooting. Cali Key's expert legal opinions empower informed decisions, and sales help grassroots Second Amendment organizations. Cali Key is your tool to keep and equip your AR, empower yourself, and defend your civil rights.
The media and politicians create terms like gun violence and ghost gun and assault weapon to change the narrative around guns in America. The entire anti-gun fear campaign is built on the reactive emotions of people who don't know any better. And the media seeks their support for gun restrictions. In Good Gun, Bad Guy, I give you the behind-the-scenes look into the mind of the anti-gun radical, because before we can defeat them, we need to understand their tactics. Good Gun, Bad Guy 2 exposes the media strategies used to create a perpetual state of irrational gun fear and hatred toward gun owners. Good Gun, Bad Guy 3 reveals the political motives behind the gun grab, why the left wants an unarmed population, and what we can do to thwart their efforts. The anti-Second Amendment radicals started this evil game. Good Gun, Bad Guy is the rule book they hoped you would never see. Go to goodgunbadguy.com to get your copy or purchase the entire series.
All right, we're back. What a great tune coming out.
It sounds like the drummer had a mustache.
Oh, yeah, he did. As a matter of fact. Anyway, Breitbart news. This you gotta hear. GOP blocks Biden bill to fund and hide mass migration. Democrats and their media allies are pressuring Republican leaders to endorse a $14 billion, that's with a B, slush fund that would hide President Joe's migration flood during the 24 election campaign. There was a quote here that says, "They ought to give me the money. I need to protect the border," Biden told reporters on January 2nd about his emergency supplemental funding request. But House Speaker Mike Johnson and other GOP leaders say the funding will be used to accelerate, not block. We were talking about this in the break. They're trying to basically use money to accelerate the migration process, and we're trying to use any money to block it and stop it. It's completely backwards. But the inflow to block will be used to accelerate, not to block the inflow of Biden's poor economic migrants during the 24 campaign. So they're trying to set up for the campaign year so they don't look so bad. What are your comments? I know you want to talk about this.
Well, covered it pretty well. While at the same time, cities around the country are all like, stop.
Yeah.
It's like the car dealers, electric cars. Stop. Don't send us any more of these. We can't have any more people coming here. We can't. New York City is going to get overrun, right? I don't know how there's any way around it. And why aren't we seeing, like though? Why when we have people on the street every day taking video of all these immigrants, what are they doing? Where are they sleeping? I heard today, just a few minutes ago on a show, all the government housing in London, half of it is occupied by illegal immigrants. So it's not just here in this country where this stuff is going on.
Well, that's the other thing.
terrible.
They're calling them migrants. They're calling them illegal. They're calling them immigrants. I think they should be called illegals. They're really illegal trespassers, is what they
Yeah.
are.
According to Democrats, they're not. They're just people looking for, they want to live here.
Then why
They
did-
do it the right way though? We have like, what is there, 10 or 20,000 coming here now? Most of them are Chinese nationalists.
There was a whole caravan of Chinese. Yeah, exactly. Chinese.
It's a little odd,
What's up
isn't
with
it?
that?
Wearing
That's
like,
weird.
did you see the clothes they're wearing? They're dressed like normal, like,
And people aren't. I'm telling you, something's going on.
it's a clear infiltration.
There's
of
something
our,
going on with them young military age
course,
people coming
right?
here.
They're going to build cells and they're going to.
Well, there's already a
attack.
shortage of women, so they're just sending them over here, and you know what their national call is going to be? Where the white women at?
Oh my God, he's so stupid. Get off the show. Exit left.
Snagglepuss.
Where the white women at?
Snagglepuss.
Oh, God, that is funny. I never know if he was going to be serious. That's funny, though.
All right, back
All
on
right.
track here, Dan.
So-
Why'd you let the thing get out of control? I thought you were in charge.
Try it. What the White House is proposing is more money to process and allow more illegals into the country, Johnson told CNN host Jake Tapper on January 3rd. He said, "We need to do the opposite of that. The funding fight is hidden from the public under the media's skimpy coverage of Senate negotiations on border reforms and dramatic demands for aid to embattled Ukraine and Israel. Those negotiations have stalled amid Democrats' determination to protect their parole backdoor at the border, forcing Democrats to step up their demands for the $14 billion."
They just want them to vote. That's all they want.
Yeah.
Look
yeah.
at Newsom. Look at Moron Newsom. He's got all these immigrants and he's giving them free health care.
Do we have a photo while we're talking about this? I think we have a photo for this.
Here they come.
Here they are. This is a photo from this article, and yeah,
Cool.
Yep.
that's not going to be good for our country in
looks good.
in a few years.
But yeah, Newsom giving away free health care while other people are living on the street. Veterans are living on the street.
Hey, I got some notes on that photo. If you can pull that back up, that's migrants depart from Tapachula, Mexico. That was on December 24th, just day before Christmas this year, 23. The caravan started the trek north through Mexico just days before U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrives in Mexico City to discuss new arrangements to control the surge of migrants seeking entry into the United States. And that was a photo. Let's give Edgar H. Clemente credit for that photo from the AP.
I wonder if he's giving out Biden 2024 T-shirts.
He's giving them like $20 million or $1 million. They had some negotiations, but it just sounds like the cartels are telling the government what to do, basically. That's the way it sounded in their initial reports that I heard this morning. So, but yeah, that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
They have the idea that it's okay to come here, obviously.
Well,
They wouldn't
somebody's telling them.
They wouldn't start these journeys. And we don't know where any of those people are from, right? We have
Yeah.
no idea.
Well, who's telling them to come here?
Or
You just
who's-
don't
who's
wake up
telling them
one day
not
and
to come
Yeah.
here?
you don't wake up one day in China and say, "I'm going to America."
Right. There's some sort of recruitment,
Yeah.
some sort of thing
Gotta
going
be.
on.
Gotta be.
Yep.
And-
Just come, we'll let you in. That's
And the
what they're-
Chinese government is probably effectively corralling all these military age guys.
Well, it could be the cartels too, getting paid by the Chinese government to let people through. They don't care. They just want to make money.
Yeah.
$5,000 a pop. Let's go. Line them up.
The cartels want to make money, but there's a deeper and more insidious plan. If you're bringing all these military age Chinese guys to America,
On our end, there's an insidious plan. Right. I agree.
and like what's going to happen? Is that going to be an infiltration? All of a sudden, one day they're going to flip the switch, and everybody knows the plan, and they're all going to start attacking. I mean, what's going to happen?
And only if you had 100 of those all around the country, what would happen?
Yeah.
People could die all over the place. Buildings could be blown up. Who knows what
Look,
could happen?
we got 50 states. How many major cities do we have? I mean, every state pretty much has a major city. What happens? Even 50 or 100
One
cells.
person in each city. You only need a person, right, to set a bomb off someplace.
Yeah.
What the heck? We're crazy. It's just anti-self-defense. I don't
But
understand.
we're sitting back and just letting it happen.
Yep.
Did you see the video I sent you about the woman speaking about the magistrate? Did you see her?
Yes.
We got to show that video sometime because that woman is 100% speaking the truth.
Absolutely.
What'd she say?
I can't remember. It's a video. She's talking about the Constitution and how the government works for us, and it's not the opposite, but that's how it is right now.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Basic common sense stuff that nobody seems to
No, I
understand.
mean,
about
the Bill of Rights was written to protect the people from government overreach. If you read every one of those amendments, and it all is designed to limit government's power and optimize the people's rights. And
Well, that's what happened with Lincoln, right? They took him off the ballot. A year later,
Right.
the Civil War started.
Right.
yeah.
We're right back there right
Not
now.
a good sign.
Well, let's talk about that because right now what they're doing is exactly the Civil War started, and they're trying to take Trump off the ballot. Now, how many states? Three or four states now have tried.
Well, Maine, yeah. Maine.
And I think we're in court now on
Georgia overturned. Colorado, I think, turned it over.
Well, they're
They're trying to get rid of the Maine Secretary of State. They're trying to get rid of her.
Well, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear the case,
But
I guess.
if the
so.
Supreme Court screws this up,
Yep. We're dead.
it's going to be real bad for them.
Yep. It's going to be bad.
It's going to be real bad for them.
It needs to be 9-0.
And like Elise said, it shouldn't be 8-1. It shouldn't be 7-2. If it's not 9-0, there's going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
Those guys might want to go and hide because people are not going to fall. They're not going to play that game.
Right.
No, he was never charged with insurrection ever.
I know.
But see, just
Now they're doing. Did you watch
that's that narrative that they're
the
on.
Rumble debate with Alex Jones?
I didn't get a chance to see. You sent it to me.
4.5 hours long. It's really stupid long. But the points that the people that were on the left side of the table were making were, well, we have to. It's all about an interpretation of the 14th Amendment of what insurrection actually means.
Oh God.
You got to be
What does
convicted
that
of
mean?
it.
Yeah.
It was put there at a certain time in history to do a certain thing.
now
at least
Democrats-
you got a precedent there, right?
Right,
Just
you
apply
think.
the precedent stuff.
No, they want to reinterpret it.
Of course.
Their interpretation now might be different. Of course, it's going to be different than what our founding fathers or when it first went into law. So yeah, of course, Democrats are going to. But here's the thing: they're getting scared. I mean, I think it's pretty clear when you start indicting Trump for BS stuff, and when you impeach him 2 times, they impeached him for nothing. And you make up all the lies, and the media is constantly creating propaganda against Trump. And then they try to literally take him off the ballot because they're scared to death. Now, check out this article. This is by Huffington Post. And if anybody knows anything about Huffington Post, they're not very conservative friendly. Let's just say that. But they wrote this article that says the Senate is turning more MAGA, and it could boost a second Trump presidency. A second Donald Trump presidency could be more unbound thanks to the changing face of the Republican Party, where traditional GOP stalwarts are gradually being replaced with hard-charging MAGA loyalists. They call them MAGA loyalists. Now, when a Democrat reads this, I know it's so stupid. But during his first term, Trump squared off with the likes of John McCain, Bob Corker, and Mitt Romney, establishment Republican senators who were often a thorn in his side. Now, many of the lawmakers most likely to push back against his worst instincts are either gone or headed for the exits, and a favorable electoral landscape for the GOP next year could install even more dutiful Trump allies in the upper chamber who will be more eager to help his promised campaign of revenge than hinder it. So they're using a lot of rhetoric and a lot of anti-Trump and anti-conservative rhetoric, but the point is they're getting scared. It's an open question, they go, as to how long 81-year-old Mitch McConnell, the Senate GOP leader who Trump loathes, will stick around after battling ailments this year. Talks about Trump's campaign already has. This is the Huffington Post saying this. Trump's campaign already has the backing of over 100 Republicans in Congress, including 17 of 49 sitting GOP senators, despite him facing historic criminal charges in 4 separate cases and his being impeached twice, including for trying to overturn his loss in the 2020 election. Okay, so they're beating Trump up. They're using the same old left-wing rhetoric. But the point is, they're getting scared. What do you think?
Good. They're getting scared because, again, if we want to scare them more, we got to start doing stuff more like they do and just pound them in this election. That's what I think's got to happen.
The left-wing nut jobs just said if Trump wins, they're going to burn the country down. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, but if we
came out and said we're going to burn blue states down, we're going to jail.
Yeah. Well, this article goes on to say that number is only expected to grow as Trump continues his march toward the GOP presidential nomination. With just a few weeks until voters begin to cast their ballots, he dominates in polls of the 24 race by a wide margin. They wouldn't admit this sort of thing if they weren't starting to get scared.
They're going to cheat like hell, and I think
they are.
I think polling stations around the country need to be manned by people.
Of course.
Yep. I think it needs to be heavily watched by regular citizens.
I agree.
If cardboard goes up, you got to go in and take it down.
Now, Ronna what's her name? I can never get her name right. Ronna McDaniel or whatever her name is. She's the chair for the GOP.
Oh, she needs to go. She's a dirt.
Well, she hasn't been doing she didn't do very.
No.
There were many things she screwed up in the last time.
It was on purpose, probably.
The problem is the committee will have a voter fraud or vote ballot watchers and vote watchers and stuff like that. They'll have groups for that, and I just hope that they're on it and they're putting everyone at the major, especially the swing state polls, and I hope that they're doing their diligence and getting people there to watch and make sure
There
that there's
shouldn't
no
be no
cheating.
3 a.m. 300,000 ballot pop.
But sometimes pipes burst.
Yeah, pipes burst. I got your pipe burst.
See, I mean, if they don't make it so that it looks legit, they're just stupid. You know, so they probably got to find ways to go through back doors and around corners and stuff to cheat because they know that everybody's going to be watching them this time. That's why they're getting scared.
But taking him off the ballot, does that look legit? So they'll
desperate.
They do whatever.
They're all playing the game. They're hoping they can have that go on long enough. So in some states, the ballots are already printed and you can't put his name on the ballot, and that'll screw everything all up because all the ballots that go out to people at their homes, the mail-in ballots,
See, we need to
won't
stop
have
the
Trump's
mail-in.
name on it.
We should stop the mail-in ballots too. If you can't come in person, you don't vote. That's how it's always been.
I agree.
No more mail-in ballots ever. If you can't get your dirty ass off the chair and go vote in person with your ID, like every normal place, then you don't vote.
Or make it a holiday. I can even go along with that. Make it a day off for everybody. Go. Here's your ID. Go vote. That's
Exactly.
all. Simple.
And
Everything's
I
done
remember-
by midnight.
I remember back in the day when the Democrats said that black people are too stupid to get IDs. Remember that?
Yeah. And they're going to interviewing people on the streets.
got
and
IDs.
Black people, and they're like,
Who
yeah.
doesn't have an ID?
Right. Yeah, we can get IDs.
You can get a non-driver ID. You can get any kind of ID.
Let's not forget how many people Trump draws at his events either. This is just to remind the libs what they're really dealing with. Check this out. This is the kind of audience that Trump is drawing. Now, have you ever seen Joe Biden draw more than freaking 6 people?
No.
This is why it's so ridiculous that they can even pretend that they believe the hoax of Joe Biden beating Trump.
No way.
But
I don't care what.
But I think the Democrat voters, I think the Trump haters, I think they must find a way in their little brains to justify it and pretend to themselves. Put that picture back up, will you please? To pretend to themselves that Joe Biden beat this.
He didn't. He
Of course
cheated 100%, and they'll never believe it.
Well, it's because, again, all they have to be convinced of is that Trump is evil and whatever means necessary to keep him from being, because, Imagine what's going to happen.
He hurt my feelings.
Somebody else talking about moving away last week or something if Trump was elected.
Oh, they all
every time.
Didn't the Whoopi
And they never leave.
Didn't the Whoopi say she was going to leave?
Lying
Didn't
idiots.
say who's the other dirtbag? They're all just
Cher did it.
Cher. Look at Cher's going to melt when the sun hits her.
Madonna.
Yeah, Madonna. She
already
doesn't even
melted.
live here anyway. She lives in France.
I don't understand.
She doesn't even know she left.
She doesn't even know she left.
Where am I?
She's she's gotten a little weird as she gets old.
Hollywood just wants to be. It's all the people who are like has-beens that want to come out and say stupid stuff. Like we don't care.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
Don't tell us. Just go.
Just do it. Just do it. Well, they want the publicity for saying it.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Because they get publicity for saying it. You know, the other libs will cheer them on.
They're threatening half the country.
You go.
All you evil people over there, if you win, I'm leaving. Okay, here's your toy. Here's your truck.
The only time you would do that is if there's a potential loss to the people. Right. But there's no loss if Cher or Madonna or who else, Whoopi. There's no loss to anybody if they leave.
Crap.
It's not like nothing that's happening in America today is even affecting them. Like they don't know what it's like to struggle.
No,
exactly.
They have no idea.
They ain't buying groceries.
No, they have no idea. And that's just typical celebrity garbage.
You had a story you wanted to hit, Anthony.
Yeah, they took over London's Westminster Bridge.
Do we have a photo of that? I think we got that. Oh, we got a clip.
Oh, there you go.
Let's play the clip and then we'll talk about it.
Like a Trump rally.
It looks like a Trump, an evil Trump rally.
Look at them all.
They're supporting Hamas.
Now, who are those people? That's what I want. We need somebody on the ground close up, like Crowder, walking around saying, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Where did you come from?"
Look at that.
Well, it says the headline from Reuters says pro-Palestinian protesters block a bridge outside the UK Parliament. So, what do you know about this?
They're trying to get the Parliament to ask Israel for a ceasefire.
Okay.
Who the hell are they? Israel's not going to listen to anybody. Yeah. Israel's this big on the map.
They're trying to get Biden to do, but you think Netanyahu pays any attention to stupid Biden?
To go F himself. He really would. And these idiots who are supporting the terrorist, we should really just give like flights to the country and say, have them go in and say, I support you. That's how that's going to go for you.
Well, didn't you see? I saw something LGBT for Palestine.
I support you.
Please go over there in your rainbow shirt and tell them you support them because you know what they're going to say?
Yeah.
We're escorting you to we're escorting you to the rooftop for a better view of the crowd.
Yeah, you want the crowd. Boop, goodbye.
But you got. It's unbelievable that these stupid people here in America are doing this.
I wonder if they do it just to do it, like just to be a part of something stupid.
I think so. It has to be because they can't actually support a terrorist government, makeshift terrorist government, when they know that government would kill them on the spot.
Right.
Gays.
But they don't believe they would kill them on the spot. They think they can go over there and have pancakes with them and say, you guys want to slow it down?
Falafels.
Pancakes and
you guys want to slow it down?
Falafels.
I agree. There's a total disconnect over. And, well, it's like any kind of country that's tyrannical like that. There's a huge disconnect between the people in charge and the people on the bottom, right? There's a huge disconnect. They're not listening to those people. They're doing whatever they want. Where does all the money
Just
go?
like when they went to Israel and killed all those innocent people because they wanted to. But now Israel can't attack because it's bad? What the hell?
They got to clean that stuff out. They got carriers over there.
Shut up, stupid, and go somewhere.
They got to be ready to shut down Hezbollah. If they start acting up, you just got to, you're out of here. Let's go. Start from scratch, I think.
It's not, they don't play around. I mean, they were literally minding their business.
The most annoying thing to watch is protesters blocking traffic, right?
Oh, yeah.
They take advantage of the fact that most people won't run them over. So they hold up traffic, make people late for work, and often prevent emergency vehicles from getting to emergencies, putting lives at risk. I think they're selfish, arrogant, and childish. Here's a video that we can comment on. Go ahead.
Just get out and beat them.
This guy's pissed.
Pathetic humans.
I would have swung.
Yeah, I can't.
You had it all packed and ready to go.
Where is this exactly again?
That's how you do it. Well, did you see that picture of Canada beating the truck drivers? But then when
They gave them food.
immigrant protesters there, they brought in McDonald's.
Brought him food, yeah.
That's how that right there should tell you.
If you're sitting on the ground in front of a truck and you know the driver can't see you because the truck is high up,
I would have went over him.
I mean,
I didn't see him.
What's got to go through your mind to sit there and know
Mental
that you
illness.
could die?
Mental illness.
They're dedicated. Give them that. I don't know what they're dedicated to. They probably don't even know what they're dedicated to.
They don't even know.
I don't get it. It's just so crazy. Can we give those idiot protesters a knuckle sandwich?
Knuckle sandwich.
Guys. Were they all guys doing their own? I think they were all.
I don't know. Sometimes I see girls there. A couple times I saw people's feet get run over, which was at least a little bit
That's
kind
fun.
of a little. They deserved it. They definitely deserved it. But I like the pepper spray idea. I think squirters on the front bumpers of the vehicles would be nice. Spray the hell out of them.
I think you should spray cat piss on them.
But one time, cat.
Why do you smell like urinade?
There was one video where the guy went ramming through, and you see the people flying over the car. Did you
How
see
you
that
do it? Hey, I didn't see him.
Or a snowplow would be good, like a truck with a snowplow.
With the wing though, so
Yeah.
they really get some air
up in the air. Shoot.
Yeah, then give them like a score.
Yeah.
10.5.
It's just, it really still is amazing to me that you would put yourself in that kind of danger for what?
Mental illness. That's all it is. Anybody that sits in the road in front of a truck like that's got mental problems.
Nothing to lose, right?
In Saratoga Springs town, it's my town, upstate New York, if you want to look it up. Great town, but they've just started, it was very liberal. Now luckily there's a Republican mayor, but it was very liberal. And what they did was they took this one main road and they put these crosswalks across, and it's busy. I mean, it's 2 lanes on each side, and it's a busy road. But if there are people walking in the crosswalk, the cars have to stop. So people are just walking out there and they're not even looking.
No.
Right. That is the law in some states, though, right?
I've had it happen.
Yeah, but wouldn't you not walk? You see cars coming. This one guy walked right out in front of me, and I almost hit him.
Should have hit him.
He walked right out from the back of a car. Anyway, they have this entitlement or something. I don't know what it is. We'll have to talk about it on the next show and see if we can figure it out. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching the show on Rumble. You can also catch the Loaded Mic on OpsLens, Right America Media, Simul TV, and the Key Radio Network. You can also catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, whatever your favorite podcast app is. We are there. I'm Dan Wass, and remember, the Second Amendment is not a privilege. It's your right.